सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्वी नावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। कार्पण्यदोषोपहतस्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविरावीर्म एधि वेदस्य म अनिष्टः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेन अधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम् अवतु तद्वक्तारम् अवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्व पवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति ऋषङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
Narayan, everyone.
Narayan, everyone.
Thank you, Rituj. Very, very well done. Thank you, Seva. You need to practice the last two shlokas a little bit. I think the pronunciation more or less is fine. You just need to get the rhythm and just getting used to the words a little bit. In the last shloka, it's Dravana Gwam, not Dravana Gum. Okay, Dravana Gwam. So just practice that, and Akshabhiri Jatra, that shlok a little bit more practice, but otherwise very, very well done. Thank you for that. Happy Diwali, everyone. The first time I'm meeting after Diwali. Hope you all had an amazing and a very happy Diwali, very lit up Diwali.
Happy Diwali. How are you? You were traveling somewhere, right? Hina and Abhinav?
Yes, we were traveling, but we are back.
So we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Cool.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wish you all the same.
Intro.
Intro for?
Better.
Yeah, for chapter 9, right? You don't want to talk about the other stuff. That we'll
do in the end.
Okay. All right. So we're doing chapter 9. It's been 2 weeks. We've had a 2-week break. So just a quick recap. Chapter 9 is in the heart of Gita. And in the heart, we're talking about the Raj Vidya, Raj Guhya Yoga. Raj Vidya, Raj Guhya as in the king of knowledge and the king of open secrets. And he is revealing to us his open secret, the greatest open secret out there. Why is it open? It is open because it is there for everyone to see. It is in plain sight. It is not hidden somewhere that we have to go looking for it. It is all around us. It completely pervades us. But it is still a secret despite being in plain view. And that is why it is the greatest open secret, because we are unable to perceive it, even though we are submerged in it. And in this chapter, he is revealing that secret to us and telling us how to recognize this greatest open secret, how to tap into its power, and how to understand it. And by connecting to it, once we understand it, we achieve mukti, the nirvana, right? Now, we keep talking about the immortality or the nirvana. What is nirvana really? What is mukti? What is this mukti? And why do we like the concept that we will achieve mukti by at the end of life, right? So the mukti is really the mukti from fear, the mukti from bondage, the mukti from compulsion that we have in living this life, right? So today we are bound by our karmas. We are bound by our gunas. And everything that happens, we have an illusion of, there is an illusion that we have any kind of free will in our doings, right? So we've touched upon this, but it's very, very, very important. And hence we will repeat it again and again. There is no free will in the actions. The actions that are getting done are driven by gunas, and our gunas drive us compulsively to do the things we do. So where is that concept of purushartha? We keep saying that there is the free will that we always talk about. That free will is only inside of us, right? It's at our antahkarans level. So the free will is about when we are doing something, how are we doing it? What is the purpose and what is the bhav with which we do it? रो के झीक के कर रहे हैं कि हम खुशी खुशी कर रहे हैं? Are we doing it with gratefulness? Are we doing it with happiness? Or are we doing it कि जबरदस्ती पकड़ पकड़ के कराया जा रहा है, right? रो रो के कराया जा रहा है, right? That is where the free will plays out. And that point is very important to note. So we are under constant bondage, and mukti is from that bondage of actions, the bondage of gunas that cause us to continuously take life after life and then live this life through the sufferings that are there in this world. Okay? So he has shown to us the greatest open secret, that there is no plurality, that there is nobody different from him. Everywhere we see, we only see him. There is oneness in this world, is what he's trying to show us, right? He's the starting point and he's the ending point of this entire creation. And then we read the word, very important word, Vishwato Mukham. What is that Vishwato Mukham? Vishwato Mukham is him being in the Vishwa, like he has got multitude of faces. Multitude of faces. And he revealed those multitude of faces. How do we recognize him as Vishwato Mukham? We recognize him in lots of different Saguna Sakar forms. So he revealed his Sagun Sakar form. From shloka 13 onwards, he's been telling us how to recognize him in different ways. And in the last two shlokas, he revealed his Sagun Sakar form as you know, that the fact that, you know, everything that happens, he calls himself, he's given an example of yajna and how every part of yajna is him. But as we understand, we are not just talking or referring to yajna in its gross form of actually doing a havan and everything, right? This concept of yajna, when taken in its subtle form, implies everything we do. And so every action in our life is composed of him. Whether it is the action, whether it is the intention, the objects that go into Havan, the mantras that are spoken, the language that is used, every single aspect and the very action of the yajna is him, right? So kratu is him, the yajna is him, the swadha, the food that is offered is him, the aushadha, all the other things that are used, cereals, roots, whatever, everything, every object that is used in the yajna is him. The mantras that we speak are him. The ghee that we offer is him. The agni that accepts it is him. And the process of offering the oblations is also him. Now apply the same concept to every action that we do. Every action in office, every action at home, whether it is with others or whether it is internal to us. Every thought, every action is him. This is the Sagun Sakar Roop of him. Then he talks about how to recognize him in relationships and all other aspects around us in terms of the knowledge or what we gain from this world. So that was also his Sagun Sakar Roop, his Sagun Sakar Vishwato Mukham Roop. So all our relationships, father, mother, pitamaha, children, friends, everything is him. He is also the object and the source of all knowledge. And he is the supreme purifier. Right? We've talked about how the worldly knowledge and the knowledge about the Lord are different, because in the worldly knowledge, we acquire knowledge from outside. We don't become that knowledge. But this supreme knowledge of the Lord is very different, because when we acquire this knowledge, we become that knowledge. And it is so pure. Lord is so pure that just by acquiring it, we become pure. And that is why Nam Jap is so important. Nam Jap helps to purify ourselves. That Nam Jap is so pure that it culls all the sins, all the gandagi that we have accumulated inside of us. It is the ultimate purifier, cleanser of our antakaran. Now we are going to, today we will start from shlok 18. So we've completed till shlok 17. We'll start from shlok 18, and here we are going to discuss the nirgun aspect of Vishwato Mukham. Right? So how do we see Vishwato Mukham, or aspects of the Lord, in the nirgun aspect? We've seen him in the sagun aspect. Now we'll see him in the nirgun aspect of him. Okay. Kakuli, would you like to read with us? Start from connection between shlok 17 and 18.
Yeah. The Lord now speaks of himself as being the essence of plurality of actions of life, their attainments as well as conditions and transformations which one comes across in life.
I thought the tune. The 21's tune is in my head. Give me a second to remind myself the tune. Okay. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi.
Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi.
Nivasa sharanam suhrit.
Nivasha Sharanam Surit.
Prabhava pralaya sthanam.
Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam.
Nidhanam bijam avyayam.
Nidhanam Vijabhavyam.
Gati is the goal. Bharta is the supporter. Prabhu is the Lord. Sakshi is witness. Nivas is abode. Sharanam is refuge. Suhrit is benefactor. Prabhava means the source. Pralaya means the dissolution, the ending. Sthanam is the place. Nidhanam is a storehouse, the ultimate place to go and sleep. Bijam avyayam is immutable seed or the imperishable seed.
Tuhina, I think we have done this shloka.
Did we do shloka 18?
Yeah, we have done 18.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
I think we can do it again if you want, but I think we have done
Yeah, that's right. Like I also marked it as done. 19th onwards.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So then we can move to shlok 19 then. So, okay. So basically, I'll just quickly revise shlok 18 and then let's go to shlok 19. Essentially, in shlok 18, he's talking about the nirgun aspect of Vishwato Mukham. I think one thing that I want to talk about here is the concept of Bharta, right? Bharta se aata hai the word Bharat, and we have used Bharat a lot of times to refer to Arjun. Bharat is a person जिसका भरण हो गया है from the Bharta, जिसका भरण हो चुका है, one who has no abhav left in his life, right? Bharta हो, जिसका भरण हो गया है, in what sense? Like, you have taken in all, you have taken whatever you need, so there is nothing left for you to acquire. Okay, so that is Bharat. Now, at a subtler level, it would mean that this person has acquired the knowledge and has no more ignorance left. And that is why there is no concept of abhav, right? If he has not acquired the divine knowledge, and if there is that ignorance left, then obviously, if you are at a body consciousness level, or if you're only talking about this world, then you can never be Bharat. Because hamesha abhav rahega hi rahega, because everything in this world is limited. Everything is limited. So as long as we are in any way linked to body consciousness, we cannot be Bharat. A Bharat is a person who has acquired divine knowledge and hence has moved past the abhav. Okay? That's the only way. That's the only way to like be fully satiated. So we've talked about how he is the ultimate attainment, and he's the eternal witness of everything that we do. He is the source and he is also the end of all aspects of creation. He's the ultimate place to go to, ultimate place to sleep, ultimate destination. Okay. So then we'll go to Shlok 19.
Thus, the Lord described various entities, phenomena, and thoughts as springing from different aspects of his consciousness. Now, the Lord speaks of the divine forces which control the phenomenal world.
Tapamyaham maham varsham.
Tapamyaham varsham.
Nigrahnamyutsrijami cha.
Nigranam yushijami cha.
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha.
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha.
Sad satchaham arjuna.
Sat satchaham arjuna.
Tapamyaham. I am the one that gives heat from like sun. Okay. मैं सूर्य रूप से तपता हूँ. I am the one that burns like sun to give you heat. Aham varsham, I am the rain. And then nigrahanam is I attract. So what are we talking about? What are you attracting? You're talking about the varsha, the rain. I attract the clouds that create the rain. That's the concept. And utsrajami, I am the one that will pour it down as well. So I attract rain and I pour down rain. Amritam is life or immortality. So I am the immortality. I am the life. I'm also the death. Mrityushcha. I'm also death. I'm also immortality. Sad Satcha Ham Arjuna. Arjun, I am also the Sat and the Asat, the real and the unreal.
O Arjuna, I give heat, I hold back clouds, and I pour down rain. I am immortality and also mortality. I am existence as well as non-existence. The Lord as sun and rain. In this shloka, the Lord speaks of the blazing heat of the sun, formation of clouds by the heat of its rays, and the falling of rain as exemplifying the work of his divine powers. For billions of years, the sun has been distributing light and heat in the universe. Its immense power springs from the part of the sentient power of the Lord. It is impossible to estimate the immense energy required for forming the clouds from vast expanse of water in the ocean and then blowing them about in space. But all this energy flows out of his infinite power.
So this shloka has three elements that he talks about: sun, rain, immortality, mortality, existence, and non-existence. So first, let's look at sun and rain, right? Some people like it sunny, some people like it shady, some people don't like it when it rains. There is always a like and a dislike associated with what is happening in weather. Bhagwanji is saying, I am the subtle behind everything, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. I am that subtle that is powering everything. Whatever you are experiencing is going to be based on your vasanas, but it is me who's powering everything. And if you were to look at it more from an individual perspective, right? We have this body. Because we have this body, we tend to associate our mother, father as the two bodies that gave birth to the body, right? They are our mom and dad. We associate our brother as the person who came from those same two bodies. And those relationships are most important. But those are all what? Bodily relationships. Started with the body, they ended with the body. So your relationship is never with that person. It is actually with that body. And what Bhagwanji is saying is, end of the day, you have a piece of me in everyone. Your only relationship is actually with me. Your only relationship with your mother or your father is the divinity in him. Because when your relationship is with the body, sometimes your wife will do something, you will like it, then the wife is very good. Sometimes the wife will do something, you don't like it, wife is not listening, she's not very good. These are all bodily relationships. What he's saying is, even if your wife is doing something you don't like, that is being powered by him. Your relationship is with him, and that him exists in us as well. Right? So it's the other example, the other way to think of it is waves of an ocean, right? Like you have all these waves that come together and they submerge back in the ocean. And for a while, these waves travel together. Now, when these waves travel together, they don't build relationships with each other's wave, no? This wave doesn't then say, oh, you're my bhai, because you're traveling with me. The only relationship the wave has is with the ocean. Similarly, the only relationship we have is with the subtle that powers everything. And that is Bhagwanji. And in this particular example, he's trying to highlight, or in the last few shlokas, he's trying to highlight his subtle nature that powers everything we interact with. We need to change our perception, our drishti, to start building a relationship with him, not with these bodies.
And exactly what Abhinav is saying, that what he's trying to bring out to us in so many different ways, and we will continue to do that in all through Gita, is to try and recognize him behind everything, right? So the beauty that we see or the power that we perceive is not in the object. It comes from the Lord. A flower is beautiful, but that beauty is because of the Lord's connection to it. It is Lord's beauty that shines forth in a flower. The colors are beautiful because of the connection with the Lord. It's the Lord that gives the colors, the beauty that they have. The power or the heat in the sun, the shitalta of the moonlight, it all is powered by him. And when he's describing the whole the water cycle here as being, he's trying to show you that there is nothing, and this is exactly what he's told us previously as well when he talked of him being part of every part of yagya, that he's everything. It starts from him, it ends in him. Every yagya, every activity, every cycle, there is no part that is not him. He is the heat, he's also the water. He's the one that powers the entire water cycle, and every single aspect, every single step is him, powered by him and him. And that is the level of subtlety that we have to start to absorb, understand, and connect to.
The Lord has immortality and also mortality. In the second line of the shloka, the Lord speaks of himself as being both immortality and mortality. Both the terms are mutually contradictory, but by this, it has been shown that all the mutually contradictory attributes coexist in him.
So this second aspect, right, if the mortality and immortality, if you actually think about it, most of us, all of us know that we are mortal, right? All of us know at some point we will have to exit this body. But on a day-to-day basis, all of us behave, act, and genuinely feel immortal. We feel permanent. We feel like, oh, this is amazing. Everything I have is amazing. Everything we associate with is with the sense of actually being immortal or permanence. But every night when we go to sleep, we exit our body. Whatever is happening in our body consciousness is disappeared when we go to sleep. And he's saying every act that you do, right? Every act that you do is him, and it's powered by him. So if you want to get out of this cycle of feeling this impermanence, acting, not knowing this, the mortality of things, is by associating directly with Bhagwan Ji. Then you will move out of this cycle of mortality and immortality.
I think another thing that is being emphasized upon is that this world is full of duality, right? Everything is, this entire world is full of duality, and the highest form of duality is mortality and immortality. So that's an example being used to convey that the plurality and the duality exist in him. Both the beautiful and the ugly, everything is him. The heat and the cold is him. Sukh and dukh is him. Birth and death is him. So there is nothing that does not exist in him. So that's something for us to remember when we are talking about people, right? There are people that we love. They are nice to us. They listen to us. They agree to the concept that I have of me. Then I like those people. People who challenge my concept of me, people who are against or who oppose me in any manner, or who get in the way of me getting something that I want, then those people are bad. right? So, and I don't relate to them, I don't like them, I avoid them, right? The point is that both these dualities are connected to the Lord. They both exist in Him and they both come in my life because He wants them to be in my life. And why does He want them to be in my life? Because that's for my greatest good. That's the best and the fastest way for me to get to the moksha, to get to Him, to find the truth. And they are always, they all of them are aiding my my path. They are all both aiding my path. So it's not just whatever I perceive as favorable, but also what I may perceive as unfavorable. That is also favorable for me. Okay. So duality exists in Him.
The Lord is existence and non-existence. The Lord speaks of both existence and non-existence as His aspects. Things that did not exist in imagination 100 years ago have become part of everyday life in the present age. It would also be naive to presume that new things would not come up anymore. The materials from which new things are created were existing before, but the advance of technology and science makes new inventions possible. Similarly, what is non-existent today would come to exist tomorrow. Both these concepts of existence and non-existence springs from the Lord, but He remains beyond their reach. The fact is that the Lord is whatever man thinks to be existing or non-existing, and He is beyond all that too.
So this is something we talked about early on in this chapter as well, right? Everything that has existed, that exists, and already or will exist, already is here, right? It's just the play, like iPhone is the example I had given, if you remember, right? iPhone had always existed. It's just the gunas and the right time that came where the right thoughts emerged at the right time, and then the right materials emerged at the right time for it to bring into creation. If not Steve Jobs, it would have been somebody else. If not somebody else, it would have been somebody else.
When the time is
when the
right,
time is right, right?
thoughts will manifest.
Similarly, like if you look at a helicopter, the first drawing was in 14th century, 13th century,
15th century by
15th century,
Leonardo da Vinci.
15th century by Da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
When the time was right, it manifested into. Sorry, you take this. I think he's.
So it manifested in the way it was supposed to get manifested, right? So there is nothing that there's nothing that does not exist today already. And that is why when we say, no, this past, present, future, that entire concept is only applicable to us. Bhagwanji is beyond that. Why is he beyond that? We've discussed that before, that the concept of time exists because of cycles. If there is no repetitive cycle, there is no concept of time. And because Bhagwanji is beyond cycles, the Lord is beyond cycles, so he's oblivious to past, present, and future. It is all here and now. Everything that has ever existed will ever exist in the material world. It already exists in its subtle form today. It's only a matter of time. It's like, all our potentiality exists. All potentiality exists in our antakaran. It is when the time is right, a certain specific part of our antakaran gets manifested as our destiny, right? Similarly, for this world, all potentiality already exists. When times become right, when the conditions become right, a certain part becomes manifest. Right?
And all our suffering comes from the fact that we think we create the outcomes. All our suffering comes because we try to attach ourselves to the goal, to the outcome, and then we become unhappy.
Anything that's impermanent.
But
right?
if you change your mindset and you just say that God is in everything, whether it's something you like, whether it's something you don't like, whether it's someone you like, someone who's being mean to you, you missing your target by a huge amount. God is in everything. That's where it starts, that belief. And then when you walk that belief, you will reach the subtler level, which is God is everything. And then divinity will reflect in everything, whether it's happening for your udar, whether your body likes it or not is immaterial.
The mukti that we always talk about, that mukti is the mukti of from fear, right? But where does that fear come from? That fear exists because of our attachments, because of our likes and dislikes. That's why there's a fear. Fear of losing what I like, fear of not being able to stay away from what I don't like. So mukti, or moving past likes and dislikes, is the greatest salvation. That is mukti, moving past our likes and dislikes, rag and dvesh, constantly operating in rag and dvesh. Nana, you want to read?
Connection from the 13th to the 19th shloka, the Lord has described both his formless aspect without attributes and the aspect with form and attributes. He also spoke of his cosmic manifestation and also of his manifestation as the phenomenal world. He also spoke of the flow of his divine powers, but persons who do not possess deep insight never look beyond the enjoyment of the world and hereafter, and have no time for self-realization, which is the real aim of human life. Such people even crave for the help of divine power just for securing such enjoyments. Describing such persons, the Lord says.
So before we continue reading, right? So in this chapter, it's fairly subtle, it's fairly abstract. He's talked about how he is the power that energizes everything, right? And he's saying, try and relate to me through Maya, but see me everywhere. Now, you and I both know that is really hard, right? Like Maya, we tend to interact directly with the Maya, the illusion. We get so stuck in sansar. It is really hard. Like in this class, we all agree this is how it should be. 20 minutes, not even 20, 10 minutes after this class, we get 2 phone calls. Your son behaves a certain way and it's gone. You're back into bodies and relationships, right? And so now he'll talk about what happens when we operate from sansaric level. And shloka number 22 he'll also give us a pole vault and a secret of how to get out of the entire cycle. Rituja, you have a question.
Yeah, just an observation from what you said. I was just thinking that maybe we could say that life is full of discoveries rather than an invention. And also that pain is real, but suffering is man-made.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just that.
You know, the discoveries part is very interesting, because that's such a humble way to say that, oh, I didn't invent anything, I just discovered Bhagwanji's energy through this, right? Like I remember there was this gentleman in our previous class, his name was Chandru. He has a gifted voice. Like I think some people here, I think Kavita would have heard him sing, gifted voice. Okay, so one day he sang a bhajan for the entire class, and after he sang the bhajan, everyone was praising him. Right? He says, "Oh, Chandru, what a beautiful song! You sang it so well. What beautiful rhythm!" And you know, his response was, his exact response was, "Ah, even I was admiring the Lord through my own voice." It was amazing how
It's like,
he,
yeah, I
how
was surprised with how beautiful the rendition was.
and that's what your discovery element is. It's not you, you're just the medium. He will pass it through you. We can just observe his chamatkar or his miracles through us. The beautiful point. Beautiful.
I get they say that it's a God-gifted talent, no? That's how they even describe it. So I guess that's also one of the things.
Absolutely. And in next
I
chapter,
mean, all our talents are God-gifted.
Yeah.
There is
Next
nothing that we
chapter, we will
create.
read exactly this thing, right?
Correct.
The chapter is Vibhuti Yoga, and we will talk about how all of our Vibhutis, the gifts, are given by the Lord, and how to recognize Him through Vibhutis in the world, through the gifts in the world that people have. That is also powered by Him.
Yeah, and what we're also reading right now, Rituj, is even if you're untalented, that's also God-gifted. So it doesn't matter.
I don't think there's anything called untalented. It's just that we've not discovered the talent for that person. Okay. Go to Shlok 20.
Yeah.
Traividya mam soma paput papaha
Traividya mama soma paha puta papa.
yajnairištva swargatim prarthayante
Yajnerištva swargatim prarthayante.
te punyamasadya surendra lokam
Te punyamasadhya surendra lokam.
ashnanti divyan devi deva bhogan.
Ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan.
Traividya are people who practice the Vedas with the Sakam Bhav. So basically, the people who do all the injunctions given in the Vedas with the idea of getting something out of it, right? Selfish interests. Like I want, basically when we are being the good people, we're trying to be good people, or we are working hard for getting something in return, right? माम मुझको मी सोम अपाहा सोम रस को पीने वाले the enjoyers of the soma elixir. Yagyer Put Papa is Pap Rahit Manushya, people whose sins have been completely obliterated. Yagya Rishtva, Yagya is Yagya ke dwara, through the Yagyas. Rishtva Pujkar, so they worship. Swargatim, Swarg ki prapti, they attain the heavenly felicities, they attain the Swarg. Prarthiyante, chahte hain, they pray me for all of these things. They pray to me for all of these things. They pray to me to get to Swarg through all the right activities or doing the right injunctions given in the Yagya, in the 3 Vedas. Te, them, पुण्यों के असाध्य को प्राप्त होकर, basically they attain surendra lokam, the swarg lok. They attain the swarg lok because of their punyas, because of the punya activities, the good activities they have done. Ashnanti bhogte hain, they enjoy them. दिव्यान दिवी दिव्य स्वर्ग में देव भोगान, देवताओं के भोगों को, they actually get the bhog of the devtas. So we know that Swarg Lok and every other lok, right? There are 7 lokas above the earth, and they belong to devas or gandharvas or kinnars, right? They are different types of people, or they're different types of species who have done extremely good activities and have lived by the laws laid down by the Lord, right? But they have all done those activities for getting certain things, and based on their activities, they then attain one of these lokas, the Swarg Lok, the Indra Lok, the Kinnar Lok, or whatever, right? They attain those things and they actually do the bhog of the devas. So what we have learned before is that all the lokas other than Bhulok are, the Bhulok is the only yoga lok. It's the only lok where we can do yoga with the Lord. Every other lok is a bhog lok. Wahan jaake we only do bhog. भोग of, or we enjoy the results or suffer the results. ऊपर में we are enjoying the results and नीचे वाले लोकों में we are suffering the results of our behavior, of our actions. But दोनों cases में क्या है कि हम सिर्फ भोग रहे हैं, हम भगवान से connected नहीं है to that extent, right? We don't have a free will. देवताओं के पास कोई free will नहीं है. They live and they bhogify all the things that have come to their life. Right? There is no free will. The next one. Te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam.
Te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam.
Shine punye martyalokam vishanti.
Shine punye martyalokam vishanti.
Evam traidharmam anuprapannaha.
Evam traidharmam anuprapanna.
Gatagatam kam kama labhante.
Gatagatam kama kama labhante.
Te is they, tam that, bhuktva after enjoying, swargalokam the swarglok, vishalam large, a very large, for a very large time you have enjoyed the vast swarglok, kshine exhaust or get reduced or become less potent. Punya, once your punyas become kshin, once your all the good activities you have done, once you have exhausted that store. Martyalokam vishanti, you revert to Martyalok, to Mrityulok, to the Bhulok. Okay, so they come back, they revert back to the Bhulok. Evam, is prakar, like this, Trai dharmam anuprapannaha, तीनों वेदों में कहे sakam karm ka. So whatever injunctions have been given in the three Vedas, when and anuprapanna sakam karm ka, like when you do karms with a sakam bhav. Gata gatam kam kama labhante, kam kama bhogo ki kamna, that same thing as sakam bhav. Gata gatam labhante, they will come back again and again and again. So there is no exit. Even if you're being good people, even if you are following all the injunctions of the Vedas, but if you're doing it for certain sakam, with the sakam bhav, you will come back again and again. There is no exit from that cycle. Huh? There is no exit. We'll read.
The knowers of three Vedas, enjoyers of the Soma elixir, with their sins obliterated, aspire for attainment of heavenly felicity, worshipping me through yajnas and reaching the world of the Lord of gods and meriting the result of their righteousness, they enjoy the divine pleasures of gods in heaven. After enjoying the extensive world of heavenly felicity and exhausting all their merit, they revert to the mortal world. Thus, those who abide by the injunctions of the Veda triad only for attaining their cherished desires repeatedly go and come back. Attaining heavenly felicity by desire motivated yajnas. In the 20th shloka, mention is made of Trividya, or the triad of knowledge. This term signifies the knowledge comprised in Rig Veda, Yajurveda, and Samaveda. The Vedas mention several yajnas. The word yajna does not mean fire oblation alone, but also includes performance of prescribed duties with propriety, solemnity, and a spirit of dedication. Such a performance of duties may sometimes be for fulfillment of worldly desires. In such a case, the dedication of duties is made for attainment of worldly and heavenly pleasures, thinking them to be the prime objects of human life. By performance of such yajnas, not only are sins obliterated, but a huge stockpile of righteous merit is built up, which enables the performer to experience the felicity of heavens and God-like bliss. Gods are said to be the personified faculties of the Lord, who do not have to perform actions for getting pleasures. The pleasures materialize to meet their slightest wish. The performance of yajnas elevates the consciousness to such heights that it begins to reflect this power of the gods, and such a person experiences the pleasure of divine enjoyment. In this shloka, mention has been made of Somarasa also. Some sages are of the view that during the performance of some specified yajnas, there was a convention of drinking this divine juice of the Soma creeper. Others refer to the yajna known as Soma Yajna and experience of bliss in that yajna as being mentioned as drinking of the Soma elixir.
So here, one thing that you would want to connect to in this shloka is this shloka defines most of us, if not all of us. For two reasons, I can say this confidently. One, we all have done a lot of righteous merit to be born in the families we've been born, to being exposed to the dharma, to the scriptures at an early age, and then living a life where in our adulthood we have access to this book, this parivar, and this satsang for us to continue on our journey. That itself is a reflection that this shloka defines us. People who have done good deeds, and we may continue to be doing those good deeds, but with that slight selfish intent. Right? And that is what we need to become aware of as we move forward. What this shloka is also saying is when you perform with yagya bhav, and that's what we do sometimes, right? We'll do some things with lok sangra as motive, we'll do some things as seva for other people, we'll do some things as yagya bhav, and then what do we feel? We feel really powerful about ourselves. We feel like we're, when you do a seva, or when you give something without expecting anything in return, with that true bhav, we tend to feel like, if you recall, you will feel very powerful. He's saying that that's a godlike feeling you get, and that has earned you righteous merit. But because there are lots of other things that we do with the sakam bhav, with selfish intent, with attachment, there is only a certain amount of benefit we accrue, and then we have to come back to the mortal coil. We have to come back to this cycle.
I'll add a subtler perspective to what Abhinav just said. The seven lokas, the top seven lokas, the lower seven lokas, these 14 lokas don't just exist there. There's no like lok outside there, right? That we'll die and then we'll attain to a swarg lok or an inner lok or whatever. These lokas exist in our mind, right? We live through heaven and through hell in this life at a subtler level in our minds. So when we do activities when we do the right activities out of the right, with the desire, right, we will get the outcomes. As an example, we do the right activities by getting up at the right time in the morning, eating the right food, doing the right exercise. With what intent? There is a sakam bhav intent to doing the same activity to look good, to feel good. My body should look good. And then I should like dress it up beautifully. So I look beautiful. I look powerful. I have influence over people, right? This is the sakam bhav. Will you achieve all of this? Of course you will. If you do this, the world, we are all bound by laws of nature, right? We know the laws of nature. This is the input. You do these activities. This is going to be the outcome, right? You know all of that. So if you do all of those things, obviously your body will look good. And then you will feel good. So you feel good about it. Your mind will feel good about it, right? You will feel happy about it. So that is your swarg lok that you have achieved because of it. And then what is this God-like power? godlike power of like, you know when you want to do certain things, you have that ability to get it done. You say, I want it like this, and it will get done, because you have created the right circumstances around you to develop that godlike power to manifest certain things. So you can manifest a certain health when you're doing activities related to good health. You will manifest wealth when you do activities with the sakam bhav to create wealth. All the hard work you do in office, the right things, blah, 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 it will help you manifest money. It will help you manifest fame, right? So if you do the right things in the right way, the way they've been prescribed, you will get God-like powers to manifest everything. Okay. And you will be able to, and a lot of people will say, hey, that person doesn't seem to have done whatever, they've achieved so much, right? And they don't seem to do as much hard work to be where they are, right? People are just born into this, right? People just have to fall out of bed to, land a certain thing type of stuff. But in fact, they have in the background work extremely hard, which may or may not be visible to you. Okay. Nobody gets stuff without, abiding by the rules. And the felicity, the calmness, the happiness, and everything that comes in your mind when you achieve these things is that experience of Swarglok, not just the physical ease, but also a certain amount of mental ease and mental happiness, emotional fulfillment that comes with it. The point is, and that's why we chase it, right? So there is physical ease, there is mental ease, there's emotional ease that will come with it. End of the day, the problem is that all of that ease that comes with it at every level will go. It will get exhausted at some point of time. You do exercise for 3 months, you will get certain benefits out of it. You can't rest on your laurels for the rest of your life. It will get exhausted. You have to continue to work hard to continue to keep that health, right? Or whether it is your money or whatever, right? So and that is the whole point of this, that you will attain Swarglok or all those lokas and you will revert back mentally, physically, emotionally. The only bliss that lasts is when you're able to go past all of this to what is the Narayan Lok. And how do you get to Narayan Lok? Is when you do all these activities, but only and only with a Nishkam Bhav. And the bhavna comes in very, very subtle ways, right? The desires come in very subtle forms. We do the right job of growing up our children, doing the right things, but उसमें क्या आ गया? Expectation जैसी आ गई, आपका सब काम खत्म. Expectation आ गई, अरे वो हमारा ख्याल रखेगा हमारा बच्चा. क्यों रखेगा ख्याल? वो उसका धर्म है. पर आपने जब उसके साथ अपना एक्सपेक्टेशन जोड़ लिया तो आपने अपना कर्म खत्म कर दिया, सकाम भाव हो गया उधर, राइट? हम काम कर रहे हैं ऑफिस में, अगर एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि हमारे कलीग्स हमें रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे, दे विल रिकॉग्नाइज अस, दे विल से वाह वाह अमेजिंग वर्क, सो हार्ड वर्किंग, और वी विल गेट प्रमोशन, और वी विल गेट सर्टेन मनी, और वी विल गेट अ सर्टेन स्टैंडिंग. Everything is sakam bhav. We do charity, as good a work as charity, but expectation is that somebody will say something back to me. I say good morning or wish happy birthday to someone, and if I don't get a revert back, then एकदम से गुस्सा आ गया, खराब लग गया, that oh, why did this person not revert back to me? I called this person, he's not called me back. That level of subtlety of expectation of certain desire being fulfilled, which could be very simple as I expected thank you. That is sakam bhav se action. Okay, so now we have to move past the idea that we are only running after money, name, fame. That is obviously there, but we've recognized it by now. Now we have to get deeper and subtler to understand how subtle our desires can get and fool us in the process, thinking that we are being nishkam bhav, but actually we are not. And that is why, and the moment you get upset, angry, agitated, fearful, anywhere, any of these negative feelings come in, no, they are a pointer that something's gone wrong somewhere, that I'm not acting out of yagya bhav, I'm not acting out of yoga with the Lord. I am being in the sakam bhav, in body consciousness somewhere. And now it's my job to figure out where did I get attached? Where did I act out of rag or dosh? And then get out of it. As soon as you recognize it and you say, I leave it, you will leave it. But the problem is you leave it now and then again something else will come and catch you. So you have to be always, always aware That awareness is so important. That's why chapter 6, meditation, constant meditation, living meditation on a daily basis. That is the purpose of chapter 6.
No, she's continuing. Reversion to the mortal.
Reversion. Reversion to the mortal world on exhaustion of righteous merit. In shloka 21, the Lord mentions that the stockpile of righteous merit is exhausted by the enjoyment of heavenly felicity. Thereafter, the individualized self has to revert to the mortal world. If all the energies are bent towards the earning of righteous merit, the cycle of heavenly felicity and revision of mortal world continues uninterruptedly. Reversion to the mortal world continues uninterruptedly without salvation.
When we cover this.
Venki, will you read with us?
Sure. Connection. A very pertinent question now arises. The attainment of heavenly bliss and reversion from it has been explained by the Lord. But if duties are performed by a devotee of the Lord dedicatedly, how would the requirements of this life be met? Here the Lord holds out a very important assurance.
The shlok 22 is super important and is in the heart of Gita. Chapter 9, shlok 22. This is the heart of Gita, absolutely in the middle. Smack in the middle, he's going to give us this assurance. So let's read the assurance.
So before we do the assurance, just want to highlight, right? So in the first few shlokas of this chapter, he talked about the subtle. And right before this shloka now, he's told us who we are. This is how you operate today, which may be good. You may accrue material benefits, you may get sansaric benefits, all of those things. But he's saying, if you want to get out of this cycle and attain moksha, then this is your pole vault. This is that assurance for us to spring out of it, right? So we'll read this.
Ananyaschintayanto mamam.
Ananyashintyato mamam.
Ananyaschintayanto mamam.
Ananyashintayato mamam.
Ye janah paryupasate.
Ye janaya paryasapasate.
Tesham nityabhayuktanam.
Tesham nityabhyakyatnam.
Bhiyuktanam.
Tiyutyanam.
Yogakshemam vahamyaham.
Yogakshemam vahayamaham.
Vahamyaham.
Vahamayaham.
So Yogakshemam vahamyaham. We have seen it where? The Bima policies, right? So we have that thing, right? Yogakshemam vahamyaham is there. Is there, what do you call it? Their title, cratch, or whatever, the word. So Ananyaschintayanto. Ananya means total love, complete love. Ananya. Aschintayanto, chintan karte hue, thinking of me, worshipping me in every way and completely, with a singleness of mind, right? Totally. Mam, muj, ye, jo, ye jana, jo bhaktajan, those who meditate on me. Paryupasate, nishkam bhav se bhajte hain. Right? So they do upasana, they do worship of me. The intent is when they worship of me is how? Nishkam bhav se. Tesham, un, those. Nitya bhiyuktanam. Nitya mera chintan karne wale purush ki. For such persons who have been referred to above. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Yoga is to get, to connect, to receive, to get something that you did not have before. Kshemam is to preserve what you have. Vahamyaham. I myself will give you something that you don't have and preserve what you have. So those people will read.
Yeah. Those who worship me in every way, meditating with a singleness of mind, thinking of none other. For such persons who are ever absorbed in me, I carry to them what they require and preserve what they have. The characteristics of dedicated devotees. In this very important shloka, 3 conditions have been laid for being fulfilled, whereafter the Lord secures the wherewithals of life for a dedicated devotee.
I don't know, but I found these results encouraging.
Go ahead.
Okay. 1. Singleness of mind. It is necessary for such a devotee to think of Lord with the mind completely centered on him alone. This would mean that in every relationship of the world, such a devotee would receive only the Lord in diverse forms. Mother, father, wife, child, friend, opponent, all then appear as different forms of the Lord. To such a devotee, dealing with all is dealing with the Lord in those forms. Whatever is done to a devotee becomes the Lord's beginning will, directed towards the devotee's ultimate welfare. All the circumstances of the devotee's life become the benevolent dispensation of the Lord, none being adverse, derogatory, or unfavorable.
So this is fairly clear, right? But what's the one thing that stops us from doing this? This is the question that I asked in the previous shloka as well, right? The sansar is so glamorous and attractive. What is the one thing that stops us from seeing Bhagwanji in everything?
Maybe our attachment to worldly things and just being bound by that. We tend to be focused so much on the worldly things that we don't see what lies within.
So yeah, you're partly absolutely correct. I'm trying to go one level subtler.
Like, why do we have those attachments?
So from the way I understand it, it's our judgment. We are which comes from seat of ego. That I am different from everybody else, and I am this body. And this judgment gives birth to everything: likes, dislikes, attachment. It gives likes to what is favorable, unfavorable, don't like this, like this. So how do we control or redirect this judgment? And the simple tool is by viewing everything, every single thing as prasad. Everything that comes to you, whether you like it or because of our vasana, our mind will tell us in that moment whether we like it or not like it. Those thoughts will come. Along with those thoughts, those emotions will come. The bodily reactions will come. Your chemical change will happen. But that is where you need to recall your training, your study, your sadhana. That, hey, this is also my prasad. Once you evoke that feeling of prasad, then your brain will start, your intellect will start to find a sense of why that has come to you. Because you believe that everything that is happening is his dispensation for our ultimate benefit. But till you don't bring that prasad bhav in and you intellectualize it, then you fall in the trap of judgment. And very soon you will fall into this is favorable, this is unfavorable. So even if you couldn't attend a particular Sunday class or this satsang, even though you wanted to for 3-4 weeks, right? And you're feeling that chanchal, it is in that moment also, that is a prasad. And you need to sit back and ask Bhagwanji, why did you make me miss this class? Even though you may want to do it, it is good for you, but there is a reason why it's not happening. Understanding the essence of every situation, every interaction is what will bring us closer to him.
2. Meditative worship. In this manner, whatever the devotee does becomes worship of the Lord. The performance of duties with a sense of dedication makes the devotee constantly meditate on the Lord, and all the work done in this manner becomes meditative worship of the Lord.
So
3. Observe. Yes.
This is, if everything that we receive in our life is a prasad, then every act that we do will result in a prasad. That means every act that we will do for him. Right? And if you just bring that Sataguni Bhav in everything that we do, that is our cheat code. It's as easy as that. The moment you start doing an act for somebody else or for somebody's liking or praise or for bonus or any of those things, you've moved back into Sakam Bhav. Yeah.
3. Absorption in the Lord. For such a devotee who is saturated with the love for the Lord, there is no occasion for repentance for the happenings of the past, nor for any apprehensive about what is to happen in the future. Being ever conjoined to the Lord and doing everything as an instrument of the Lord, no expectation of any type of reward from any person, happening, or circumstance. Performance of duties towards everyone is not counted as doing any favor to them. On the other hand, there is sense of being always grateful to the Lord for having been given an opportunity to be of service to others.
Yeah. So I think this is something we've talked about just now in the previous shloka as well, right? Being grateful for the opportunity to serve, and whatever talent you have also is through him, and being grateful to be able to observe that.
So now take a few seconds to close your eyes and think about what it means to live like this. Okay. This is the kind of person, this is the kind of devotee that Lord is talking about. And he's saying, if you become this person, who is this person? First, he's looking at everything and everybody around him as Lord, right? Whoever comes in front of me is Lord. So I'm interacting with Lord in everything that I do. Every circumstance that is getting created is a circumstance for me to do my duty. It is an opportunity for me to do a seva, right? And then whatever be the results that come from it, I'm not attached to those results. I don't care about those results, because whatever will come is favorable to me, right? So it doesn't matter. Now, I may, because I am ruled by gunas, right? A devotee is ruled by the gunas, and hence he will experience likes and dislikes at the level of body, at the level of emotions, feelings, and at the level of intellect, right? So pain and pleasure in the body will be experienced, right? If you touch yourself with a thorn, your body will feel the pain. If you touch yourself with a flower, you will feel the pleasure. That pain and pleasure will occur at the level of body. There will be likes and dislikes at the level of your mind. I like this, I don't like this. I feel happy here, I don't feel happy here. I want this, I don't want that. Your mind will experience it because of our vasanas. At an intellectual level, you will feel man and samman. Okay? This is, people are saying good things about me, people are not saying good things about me, or what, that feeling of man, apman, all of that will be felt at the level of intellect. So whatever be the results, they will invoke some of these things out of you. But I am not this. I am one with Bhagwan. And hence, I will move past all of this. This is the kind of devotee that Lord is talking about. Connection to Lord, being connected with Him, doing all activities with Seva Bhav, with no expectations from VVGP, and seeing everything with the Prasad Buddhi. Being able to experience the likes and dislikes at the level of body, mind, and intellect, and being able to say, yes, I experience it, but I am not this. I'm not my body. I'm not my mind. I'm not this intellect. These are my tools. I am past this. I am beyond this. This is the kind of devotee that Lord is referring to. And if we become this kind of devotee, then He has an assurance for us, which we will now read. Yes, Kakuli. You're on mute.
I got to know day before that a school friend of mine lost her 24-year-old daughter to a kidney failure. Now, in such a situation, how does one react? I mean, I think all these, to be a devotee, when you lose a 24-year-old daughter, suddenly it just fails. As a human being, how do you react and accept that this is for my higher good?
So the first, the question is from you listening to this and asking how should you react?
I'm just thinking, like, how is that person going to, if she was in a Gita class and listening to this, it is one thing like about action, reaction, not liking something, but such a huge loss. And I think one of the greatest loss a mother can face. In that situation, how do you bring Gita into this and really accept what Bhagwanji is giving you? I mean, is that not a huge walk that we need to do as in our journey to even accept that?
So I think first thing is we have to change our words. Huh? There is this is no loss. The whole concept of condolence has to be removed if you are walking the path of Gita. Why would you have to say if somebody has left their mortal coil, then why is that a loss? How is that a loss? What is the loss of?
The physical attachment, and seeing the physical person around.
You've only lost the body, physical body. In Gita, that's what we started with chapter 2, Tattva
Right?
Gyan,
The
right?
Tattva Gyan in chapter 2.
Just like we change our clothes and we don't mourn about the clothes that get worn out, but we keep changing bodies.
Undoubtedly, it's going to be very, very tough challenge for any parent or anybody for that matter to lose a near and dear one. The one thing that is Gita that's going to help is recoup, come out of it. Time is ultimate healer, right? Somebody will mourn for days, months, years, all that kind of things. But with the Gita principles and so on, you will be able to recoup and come back to reality much faster, sooner, and do your duty forward accordingly.
And yes, and you will feel bad, right? You will feel sad. We are ruled by gunas. So if you have such a loss, or if you want to call it a loss, first of all, you have to stop using these words. The more we use wrong words, this is wrong knowledge, right? This is ignorance. So as people who walk the path of Gita, we have to change our language, right? This is not a loss. It is just a change of energy, right? But your body will feel, your mind will feel, your intellect will feel, you will feel sad, right? And that's okay. By all means, first of all, do not ignore that sadness, don't suppress it. Feel the emotion, express the emotion, let the emotion flow through you. But know that there is this emotion which is also impermanent. It will come, let it come, experience it, and let it go. This is an experience I need to have, but I will not hold on to it and stop passage of energy. I will let it flow through and then find other ways of connecting and then find the truth. This person, this soul came into this world for a reason, to experience something, to create something, and and it had its own purpose of life. When that purpose is complete, the soul will move on to its onward journey for the next stage of their evolution. So we should celebrate a life and be grateful to God and pray to God that when this change occurs, He gives us the sadbuddhi. He gives us the light and He shows the light to that soul for the next journey of their life. Just as it shows the journey, and He needs to show it to us, right? When an event occurs, it does not just occur or touch one person, it will touch multitude of lives around. And this is a very big event. So if it's a very big event, it will touch the lives of many, many people around in ways that that particular soul needs to experience exactly in that way. It is that exact.
The two things. One, just be very mindful about you not passing this gyan to the person experiencing it right now. So that is not what Gita is, and they're in no state of mind to understand. Right? Even Bhagwanji himself in Gita does not say a word till Arjun fully surrenders to him and asks him, what should I do? So we are in no place or position to share or give advice to anyone who's going through anything. But these are very pertinent questions for us to experience how we are going to go through it and how we want to choose to react to it. Right? We always say that you study in peacetime for wartime, and Gita is just that. War aayega. In our lives, we will face war many a time. That is why we are taking out 3 hours every Sunday to do this, so that we can approach it with the right knowledge, with the right principles to slay the Ravan inside of us, the ego and the attachment inside of us, rather than try to control the outcomes in the world.
So in our the Saturday class that we used to have, we've actually had people go through, actually several people in the last few years of our journey have gone through some really, really tough moments of loss of their loved ones, and going through some extremely deep and difficult journey with regard to health
Or child.
or child's health. And they all have gone through these different emotions of the shock, being able to connect to Gita, to heal them. In fact, some of them joined after they had felt that, after they had gone through an extremely difficult moment in their life. And then they joined Gita and they realized how they had been holding on to certain events for years or months. And then they found Gita, which helped them heal and release their past and move on.
So there is this, I've shared this story, I'm pretty sure. There was this story about a man in the US. He had an 8 or 9-year-old son who got shot in school by a 15-year-old colored person in the US. I think Bhageshri is nodding because she remembers the story. So he got shot. He died.
And this is just a couple of years ago. It's a recent story.
So the son died, And the police, of course, caught the 15-year-old or 14-year-old, whatever, put him in prison, jail, vagara, jo bhi tha. And the father came and he said, I want to meet this boy, this 15-year-old boy. And he spoke to the 15-year-old boy, met him a few times in prison, juvenile prison, and understood his story. And he refused to press charges. So if he refused to press charges, the boy basically got minimum sentence and he came out. Okay? When this boy came out, this father went back to the boy and said, I'm very happy you're out. I want to help people like you, boys like you, so that they don't pick up a gun. They don't turn to crime. That 16, 17 or 18-year-old boy and him started an NGO and started building programs to involve all these impoverished neighborhoods, boys, young boys from there, so that they don't get into life of drug and violent crime, right? And in that interview, after it became successful, raised a lot of money, somebody asked him, what about your son? You lost your son. Well, how do you feel about that? And his simple response was, yeah, I lost one son, but now I have 150 sons I take care of. I feel very blessed. Now, this is a person with ultimate gyan.
And how he used that such a violent, sudden, seemingly extremely unfavorable circumstance, he used even that VVGP to connect to the Lord, and it helped him reach whatever he had to create in this world. So all souls have their own journey. And we just use these circumstances, whatever, however difficult or small they may be. End of the day, even small things, when we practice them, they will help us get to the ultimate level of like being able to manage bigger situations.
Thank you.
We have a lot of reading left.
Yeah. Bhageshri, you had a question.
Yeah. So when you say that see God in everything, so we know that there is one God, the supreme power, like one God. But when we say see God in like 8 billion other people, so what kind of God is that? Is that some quality of God, or like what? Like there cannot be like so many gods, right? I mean, we know the one superpower, we know one God who has, created everything or something like that. But then what kind of God is in everyone?
So how did Lord create this creation? Eko ham bahusyami. I am one, but I am a part of so many others. So think of this as the ocean. The ocean is one, the quality of ocean is one, but every drop of ocean, when you take that little drop of ocean out, it is exactly the same quality as the larger ocean. The only difference is the quantity. The quality of that water is exactly the same as that of the larger ocean, right? So if you want to know the chemical properties of ocean, you can find that out from the tiniest drop of water by putting it under microscope, right? So that's exactly the concept, that Lord inside of you and the Lord inside of me, who powers you and who manages you and your being, every aspect of your life is the same as the one that is defining me and living inside me and powering me. Being able to go past what I look like, what you look like, what you do, what I do, how I behave, or what my behavior patterns are, going past that and just being able to connect to the divinity inside of each of us is the way we say that we connect or we see Lord inside every single person. It's like gold, right? The gold is the same, but it can take various forms in different ornaments. The same gold can be crafted into a bangle or into your earrings or into your necklace. But the quality of gold is exactly the same. It's just that it has taken different forms so that it can adorn different parts of our body. So it does a different purpose. And that is why there are so many different forms of us. Devtas, when we think of Devtas, Devtas are basically powers of the Lord, right? Same one Lord, but different parts of his consciousness will power different parts of this world. The rain god, the sun god, the earth god, the Vayu god, the fire god, right? They are all different forms or the different powers, the different energies of the Lord.
Why we are connecting with Krishna better? He is close enough to our current representation currently. If you go to China, the gods will mostly look like Chinese people. If you are going somewhere else, it will be native so that they'll be able to connect. People funnily say for buffaloes that there is a buffalo god, right? That's how they imagine, that's how they will be able to connect. They will be able to think and connect to the god easily. The forms and shapes are given by us for our own representation. It's the imprint that we wanted to carry. Okay, so whether it is called Asian, Indian, or whatever it is, these things are our superimposition of images. But ultimately, God is formless, shapeless, all that kind of thing. So that is the superpower, right? That's ultimate, and that it's not going to have any shape, form, and everything. So if we reach to that level, we will be able to think like at a bigger aspect. Until then, if you want to connect, you will have to have a shape or form, essentially.
Correct. So think of physics, right? Physics, what does physics say? The first law says that energy can never be created nor destroyed. It only changes its form. So whether it's hydroelectric energy, whether it is heat energy, whether it is wind energy, these are all forms of energy and they can transmute themselves from one form to another, correct? And then it dissipates. But at no point of time do you make a distinction between energy. Yes, when it is wind energy, it will create a different thing, or it will create a different effect. If it takes the form of heat energy, it will create a different effect on us. But ultimately, energy is energy, right? The basic quality of energy is the same. So think of, if nothing else, then at a gross term, think of Bhagwanji as energy.
But when we look at when I look at other person, let's say I'm looking at you now, So if I'm thinking that yes, you are God, so Hina is God. What do I think? Okay, what kind of God is she? What kind of God-like quality is there in when I'm looking at different people? I want to think that okay, there is dignity in all of them. So what should I think? Let's say I'm thinking of you. What should I think? Okay, she's God. How is she God? What are God-like qualities in you? So what is it exactly?
So it's not about finding the God-like qualities in anyone. Firstly, it's understanding Tuvina is sitting here because she has an energy that powers this body. That energy is Bhagwanji. Okay? That's the difference between Tuvina sitting here versus when Tuvina leaves her mortal coil and Tuvina being a dead body there. You put as much food as you want in that person's mouth, you make him chew physically, it's not going to come back to life.
That consciousness that powers me is God.
That is God. Now that is, because all of us are alive, that is a given, that the consciousness exists in all of us. Now, whether we are able to see that consciousness in them is dependent on our antakaran ki shuddhi, our perspective. And the cleaner we are in being able to recognize the divinity in us, the quicker we will be able to see the divinity in other people around us. But the starting point, and that's what I explained earlier, the starting point is the belief that God is in everything, because everything is moving, everything has energy, and that is Him. And then you start working on your own divinity, working on your own divine qualities, you will start seeing that reflection everywhere else. You will start seeing his blessings and his miracles all around your life, because you're now looking for him. But the first step is believe that God is in everything and start looking out for it.
So for example, if we just take this class, right? If we apply the shloka 16, let's apply shloka 16 to this class right now and see how what sense does it make. The fact that this class is being done, it is being done by his grace. If it was not his grace, then we would not have even had this class in the first place. He wants to have this class, he wants to power this class, he wants to energize this class, and hence the class is happening. This computer that is enabling all of us to get into this class, or our phones or tablets, this is all his dispensation, his grace, that we have these devices. We have the electricity, we have the internet connection to connect in. And then the fact that we all have time. We all have time that we can take out of our daily lives to sit here and talk. We have this book, the Gyan. We have the gurus who have guided us into having this class, who have guided us to just, even before that, there are guru shaktis that have got each one of us involved in this class. If it was not for this grace, we would not be able to sit here. We would not be able to have our hands on this book. The very act of us speaking, the very act of the questions being asked is representation and grace of Lord. The questions do not come by themselves. They come because God wants these questions to be asked. There is Arjun. Arjun asked, this is Arjun Shakti, that Arjun asks these questions to understand, and then Lord speaks through different people to be able to answer those questions. This is Gita. The act of asking the question, the act of answering, the power of the power that gives power to to this conversation itself is him. The content is him. People who are listening to it is him. People who are asking is him.
Right. Should we finish reading? Should we continue reading next slide?
Let's continue reading next class because it's already 12:07.
We have 1.5 pages and
yeah.
Still. So we'll continue, we'll reread the shloka in the next class, and we'll continue from here. There are two other things that we actually want to talk about as well, but first let's do closing shlokas. We don't have, Anmol's not here. Bhagishri, would you like to do the closing shlokas?
Yes, let me just quickly open that.
I stop recording.
Yeah.